Kenny Matthews here with FridayNightGlory.com with legendary defensive back for the Dallas Cowboys, Everson. We appreciate you coming out here tonight. I mean, obviously it's a great cause out here to help the kids, and I know that, kids look up to, your athletes, especially ones that have the same dream that you had, right, and then you were able to achieve that dream. So that's, it's nice for you guys to come back out here and just to give back a little of your time, because I think just a little of your time does so much for these kids.
Well, they look up to anyone that they know may have played. Most of them have never heard of me, but they know Dallas Cowboys, number one. And I asked a few of them if they knew Grambling State University. A few of them knew Grambling, but for the most part, they're just they understand that they can learn something, and that's what we brought them here for, to make sure that as they go through the summer, they spend it wisely. Idle time is tough for kids, so we want to keep these guys in the athletic frame of mind, and that doesn't mean just talking about sports. When I say athletic frame of mind, I mean to keep the ambition going, to keep the determination going, to keep the focus going throughout the entire summer, so when the fall comes, they can just hit the ground running. That's our goal for them.
Well, and a point there, not a lot of people realize that, you only played 1 year of high school football, so how did that how did you just all of a sudden you're on the football team?
Well, I love basketball. Even when I played with the Cowboys, we had our off-season basketball team, and we took more pride in that, I believe, than playing on Sundays. I hate to say, but it was all about opportunity and disappointment. Had tough times when I was a kid. I know about the idle times and the troubles you can get into during the summer. So I was a victim to that, and I ended up getting kicked off the basketball team. And so football was just a point of desperation. Sure. I didn't want to get a job, So I was like, my mom was like, if you don't play ball, you're gonna get a job and go to school. So I ended up reverting and using football as a plan B. Yeah. And just so happened I was good at it, and it was certain things I could do in basketball that related to playing defensive back. Sure. So it was almost a seamless transition, and my high school football coach at Bergner High School was happy that I made that transition.
Well, even into that, you led the area in interceptions. I did. The first year you're playing, right, you lead the league, and then there's no college offers out there for you though afterwards. Right. So what were you thinking before you got to go and be a walk-on in Grambling State?
I had more confidence. I think one thing it gave me more confidence in myself, not just on the field, but somehow sports sometimes translate to the field, off the field as well, and it did that for me. My ego was a little bit bigger. My place in life, I think I was a little bit more comfortable, and I was able to pursue things during that time that I would otherwise not pursue if it wasn't for the confidence in myself that I gained in sports. So I ended up going to Grambling State University. Coach Robinson and the Tigers had one scholarship left. And, sometimes things are just by the grace of God. Sometimes they are. That one scholarship, I believe someone reneged on a scholarship, and I was able to get that scholarship, and I didn't turn back. I realized that was a turning point in my life. And that made me work even harder.
Well, it had to be a tremendous blessing to be under one of the greats of all time, too, and the great late Eddie Robinson, too.
Right, there's no doubt about it. And, all of these things just kind of fell into my lap. I mean, by playing football, I ended up getting a girlfriend. That girlfriend just so happened she was going to Grambling State. And, when I heard Grambling, HBCUs, it wasn't even on my mind. But once that thought was put in my head, I thought it was a perfect fit, because once I started playing sports, my whatever emotions I had about going through those trying times in high school and junior high, and all of that came from integration. I started to feel better about myself, and when I heard about Grambling, I knew that could be a way for me to, be more comfortable with myself by going to an HBCU. And it really made me the man I am today, no doubt about it.
And a little bit of that maturity lesson that you were going through during that time probably was very beneficial to you, and being an undrafted free agent, again, it's another, a cycle that you've gone through, in the 5-6 year period there, but a lot of that probably helped you to, obtain your status.
There's no doubt about it. After going through Grambling and realizing how I could not just do well, but exceed any expectations that anyone ever had for me, I never felt I could be beaten again. And if I was going to be beaten, it wasn't going to come from me. I wasn't going to defeat myself. So I wanted to make sure that I was as strong as possible. And by going to Grambling, I just had this inner strength that has stuck with me my entire life. From the 10th grade in Bergner High School, total difference between the pessimism that I had as a 10th grader as far as where my life was going versus the optimism that I've had from then on in my life.
Well, and I'm glad you said something about the optimism. I think a lot of people take that as negatives, not being drafted or not getting. No, that's opportunities that were made by you instead of it being, a negative.
Right. Well, what I did was I took the best position or best path for myself. I had 3 teams after me. I wasn't going to go to Buffalo. It's too cold. I wasn't going to New Orleans. That's when they had the bags on their heads in New Orleans. I think they were the Aints at the time. There's no way I was going there. And by growing up in Dallas, I knew, to me, it was the devil you knew, because it's a tough game.
Yes,
and it didn't mean anything. My path was not laid out for me. So I knew I had to fight for it. And so to me, it was the devil I knew. And I knew the Cowboy organization. I knew what to expect. And the best thing about it, I knew their defensive backs sucked. And I figured I had a good chance to make that team because I was very good at playing man-on-man defense.
And your rookie year, you lead the league in interceptions. I mean, that's just got to be wonderful. I mean, to even think from being undrafted, not sure if you're on a spot,
right?
Then earn a spot, then be the starter, right, and then lead the league in interceptions your rookie year.
It's like I planned it, But of course, like I said, it wasn't my plans at all. It was just God working through me. It was a great feeling, and if I'm not mistaken, 11 interceptions in 1981. I don't think anyone's gotten 11 since.
I'd be shocked if that's
the Cowboys as a team barely get 11.
Or 11 turnovers.
Right. So I'm very proud of that, by being able to do that, coming out as a rookie, making my mark early. And it did wonders for my confidence going on, led the league 3 times total, something no one has ever done. And I mean, what are the odds?
What are the odds?
Yeah, come on. I was a little old snot-nosed kid. I didn't even play sports my junior year. Didn't play any sports my junior year. And to be able to go from there in 1975, 76, to where I ended up when my entire career was over, no one could have chosen that. And that's what I wanted to impart to these young men out here, no doubt about it.
Wonderful story.
No doubt.
And not only that, kind of wrap up a little bit of the college, and not many people got to play with 2 legendary heavyweight coaches like you did in Tom Landry and Eddie Robertson.
There's no doubt about it. Two totally different type of people. But by being with Coach Robinson, I understood how to persevere under a Landry system, which was very tough because it's the pros, first of all. And, as far as they're concerned, I don't care how many plays you make. You can always be replaced.
Absolutely.
So to be able to withstand that kind of pressure year in and year out under a great program was something that only by going to Grambling I could withstand. Playing for not just those 2 coaches, but Bill Parcells. Go from there to Bill Belichick. And so I was surrounded by great leaders, even though all of their talents and coaching styles were different. They all benefited me in some way, or either I was able to make adaptation to their different styles.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, and you just mentioned there you've got 4 Hall of Fame coaches.
4, that's
your
right.
whole career.
That's
I mean,
right.
you're thinking from Richardson to that point in time. I mean, that's 15, 16 years of playing football
right.
and 4 Hall of Famers.
That's
I mean,
right.
that's a blessing to have.
It was so amazing, and I realized that. And that's I tell people when I speak that, you know, it's if you want to be great at something, then you have to be taught by great people. You're not going to learn anything from someone that's dumber than you. You know, you want to learn from people. You want to hang around with people. You want to affiliate and associate yourself with people who are smarter than you, people who have something that you can take advantage of, and they don't mind sharing it. You know, those kind of people that are willing to with you, to network with you. Those are the things that I try and impart on these young men as well, that are going to get you somewhere in life, sometimes without even trying.
Well, yeah, and I think sometimes kids deem that as a weakness. And it's not a weakness. I think you're a bigger man if you're allowing people to come in and critique what you can do and listen for their trials and tribulations that, Lord knows, I mean, they keep coming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they stop.
Right.
So, I mean, to listen to that, I think it tells me more of the character of the person.
There's no doubt about it. But character is formed. It's formed by your experiences in life, and it's formed by your associations in life. At one point, I was hanging around and associating with the wrong people. That's how you end up in the juvenile home. Okay, that's how you end up getting kicked off the basketball team. That's how you end up quitting football, making bad decisions. See, those things are learned, okay? And just as bad things are learned, good things are learned as well. And it can shape you as a person either way. So you got to be careful.
Well, and I'd like to talk one last thing about the Cowboys. I thought that, you know, a lot of people still may not realize, you know, you and the kidney donation to the great late Ron Springs. I mean, how did that all kind of come to? And I know you've got a book behind that you can also promote here too. How did you come to that where it was, you know, hey, it's me. I got to step up and do this.
You know, I say it's for selfish reasons, number one, because Ron was so much fun. You know, it's not a party until Ron got there. So, you know, life's just boring without him. You know what I mean? So I wanted to keep him around as much as possible. And also, there were always times in my life where you think, if something like that happened to me, boy, I sure wish somebody would step up. You know, and there have been times where, you know, I needed somebody to step up and nobody was there. And that feeling is a tough feeling. And when you're talking, and that had nothing to do with life or death. Okay, so we were talking life or death situation. And we talked inside with the kids about regret. My business partner, Mike Davis, said that regret is the most expensive lesson to learn. Because when you regret something, you cannot go back. And there's no way I didn't want to for Ron to leave or something to happen to Ron, and then I sit back and say, man, I should have stepped up. That'll eat you alive. That'll eat you alive, especially if you know better. And I knew I was in shape. I knew that, you know, I didn't know what the procedures were, but I knew that if anybody was going to be in shape enough to do it for him, it could be me, and it just so happened it was. Lucky for him. Lucky for him.
Well, that's an amazing story. I think that it's one that, you know, obviously when you go through life and you see that people are giving back, and a lot of people always claim, oh, I'd give a kidney for that person. They say it kind of off cuff, but you know, you actually did fulfill that promise.
Yeah, and it's a follow-up to that because, you know, you want to make sure that you don't need one later on. So the margin for error is very slim for the rest of my life. So the sacrifice is still made, you know, every day of my life, because, you know, now I have to pay attention to what I eat. I still have bad habits. I still love sweets, you know. I still like beer, you know what I mean? So stuff like that. So there are things that, you know, it's still a price to be paid for that sacrifice. And if you do, anytime you do sacrifice, and that's one thing that I really never think about until now, anytime you do sacrifice, there's still always a price to be paid. It's just life.
It's life.
Life is about that. Just because you might help somebody, that doesn't mean your life is over as far as hard work, as far as, responsibility, things of that nature. There is still a price to be paid, and, the sacrifice goes on every day of life.
Well, I can't thank you enough for spending as much time here with FridayNightGlory.com.
She was able to hold still for
Yes,
that
she
long.
was. She did a great job on that, didn't she?
I saw her waving.
That's Beverly at FridayNightGlory.com doing the pro that she is. And I know the kids, I know they appreciate it. Like you said, their fathers and their mothers, they know who Cubby Bear is.
No. My mom's rolling over in her grave right now.
But it's just nice always that you stayed in the community and you're giving back to the community, which, we need more of that. A lot of people talk that, but they don't walk the talk.
Right.
And it's nice to see people that come back out here and give a little bit of their time, because we're all busy.
Right.
But when you take the time out of your schedule to do this, you may reach one of these kids out here today, and that's all that you need.
I'm still being held accountable. I've got business partners that still hold me accountable. And so my preacher always talks about sacrifice is one thing, but commitment is the real thing. Okay, you can sacrifice all you want, but it's the people that do it every day. When I'm traveling somewhere or having a good time somewhere, there are still people that are grinding to do what's best for whatever their cause is, and those are the people that deserve a whole lot more credit than for something a person did for one moment in his life.
Well, it's nice that with everything's been kind of going on with the country here lately, with all the distress that we have, it's nice to know that humanity still exists.
Oh yeah,
and as I think that's a forgotten thing, that in all this madness that's been going on, that there is humane things that people are doing and not trying to get credit for it. They're just doing it because it's right.
They're doing it because it's right. And the problem we have is, everyone wants to be right. Nobody wants to do right. They just want to be right. To say I won.
Right.
I won that argument, or my cause is greater than yours. When it all comes down to it, just do right. Just do right, and you know better.
Well, thank you, Everson. It was a great pleasure being with you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you a lot. FridayNightGlory.com. Thanks.